Welcome to Healing Arts Academy My Way, where we get to know the people that come to us to enlighten our lives. I'm honored today because I have a big brother of mine, Ted Silverhand, and also because I'm able to honor the American Native tribes today. I'm going to let you know who this is. Maybe you know him, maybe you don't. According to Native tradition, there was always a special person in each tribe that one can go to for answers to dreams, visions, and future events. These people are called tellers or seers. Ted Silverhand is a Tuscarora Native from North Carolina, is a member of the Sagarrissa family and the Bear clan. The Sagarrissa have been known and acclaimed as seers for generations. For many, Silverhand has become more than a traditional seer or teller. He has become a guiding light, and I guess I can count myself as one of them. Welcome, my big brother. How are you today?
How are you? It's nice to hear you again and to see and to look upon you. It's been a long time, eh? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful. Wonderful to have you here. Ted,
It's good to be here.
I'm honored. I'm honored. Oh, please subscribe and also hit the bell so you will know when we are airing new programs. How could we explain when you had this experience, supernatural experience, I guess I could call it? Since when do you know things and stuff like that? And when were you able to differentiate what, let me put it like this, to differentiate when something comes from your head and when something is told to you?
You know, I started so early, so young, to where it's a natural thing. Technically, at the age of about 7 years old, as a little boy, I want to go further back. I was very sickly child, did not know, but she was boiling my milk 30 minutes before serving me, and it just brought out all of the vitamins and things of that. And so I ended with eczema throughout the entire face, and also in time I ended up with asthma, and I was very, very sickly, and I died 3 times during that time period of going into the light. Did not know what it was all about, but then and then started to having the dreams of visions of people coming while I'm asleep. And I remember the first lady that came to visit me, her name was Bedabid. And Bedabid means first light. I used to call her BB because I could not pronounce her name. And she came through the wall and sat down on the side of my bed. I was so sick, and she leaned in and whispered to me and talked with me. And then she got up and walked through the next wall. And I was so paralyzed I could not move. I remember this very much. And I've told this story many, many times. And when I was able to sit up, I go downstairs to talk and told my mother and father what had happened. And she said she would be back. And my father said he was very nervous, and he says, we're going to, I'm making sure that you're not going to leave. He thought I was going to just go away. And so he made a small bed beside their bed, at the foot of their bed. And within 3 nights' time, she came and she says, we must go. And all I know is getting up and walking through the wall with her, and then walking down this dirt road. And as I'm walking, it's beautiful. I hear the birds singing. I hear the crick rushing the water going by, and she was pulling me. We must make haste, make haste. And we walked a bit, and then we went up into this hilltop, and there she pointed at the ark, there, and said, "Go there and sit." And when I sat and turned around to look at her, there were 13 old men sitting in a circle, and I was in the midst of them. And as I looked at each person, they did not talk with their mouths, they talked with their eyes. And at the end of each of them telling me who they were, and then my tall pine, who was in charge of the group, he says, "My name is Tall Pine. I'm your life protector, and these are your helpers this lifetime. And we will be together, but as we talk as one, it would be him to talk." And I was confused at 7, 8 years old, and he said, "What do you want to know?" Of course, I said, "I want to be well," because I was tired, I was hurting, I was always, and he said, "You will be free, you will be strong one day, and you will not have this gasping of breath and this asthma." And so they would visit, and I would sit and listen, but never knew, could not understand. And then as I got older, and one of the meetings, I would leave my family, and I would not see them for a long time. And of course, the next day, I'm running downstairs, and I'm saying, I think I'm going to die. I think I'm going to die because I'm going away. As a kid, you didn't know what else to say. And so that passed me by. And then about maybe 6 months to a year, my parents said, "You're going to be leaving here and you're going to be going to Colorado." And because I still had the asthma and the breathing and the things of this, and I was placed on a plane, and this was, let's say, about the age of 10 years old, 11 years old. And I went to Denver, Colorado, and I was there at a place called the Jewish National Home, the National Home for Jewish Children in Denver, Colorado. And it was for asthmatics as well. And that night, once I got to my room, I knew and I felt I was supposed to be there to meet many different people from Israel, people from all over the world, little children my age. It seemed that I felt we were all sent there to understand each other. And it was, and so I was not afraid. I just knew. And my grandmother told me before leaving home, she says, I want you on that new moon to always look at that new moon, the dog. And my grandmother told me that because I was alone there in Colorado, and she says each time the new moon, we would look at a certain time at night into the new moon, and we will both see, and we'll both be able to connect with each other. The new moon is the moon of new beginnings. And that when you want to start something of importance, you have to get permission from the grandmothers. And through the grandmothers, what we would do is prepare a plate, a spirit plate. And on that plate is all the food that you have on that dinner table after 6 o'clock. And and then you put a little tobacco in the center of that paper plate. It's a paper plate. Then we go down to the river's edge where the water is moving. And once you get there, you walk over with the paper plate and you put the plate right on top of the wave. And as the grandmothers snatch that plate of food, then as they do that, then you stand up and you start talking to the grandmothers and say, you know, grandmothers, I am here to ask for a favor. And in asking for this favor, I brought my sacrifice. This sacrifice is the food that's prepared that I've eaten on. And this usually women do this plate of food, this sacrifice and things. And then I would say, this is what I would like to do. I would like to start this particular thing I want to do. If I want to write a book or what have you, you would ask. And then once you have spoken to the grandmothers and you see the plate of food is going across the water, this is after 6 o'clock at night, then you go back to your car and you go home. And within 3 nights' time, you will be, someone is going to come to visit you. They're going to wake you up within that 3 nights' time. And then you will know exactly what you will be able to do. In other words, they're saying to you in so many words, you can start this journey. And it can be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. You want to make sure you're serious. If you wanted to start to write a book, you want to be serious about it. Because if not, perhaps every 2 or 3 days, nights come, they're going to wake you up and keep waking you up until after a period of time that they feel that that book should have been written, or that story, or whatever you're doing. So, but I don't want to get too far off, but I'm just explaining about the moon of new beginnings. But in my case, as a little boy, this was the time I could connect with my grandmother, and so into this area. Now, I want you all to understand that each of us that come back upon this earth, we all come back to travel the 7 roads of life. The roads of fear, knowledge, enlightenment, wisdom, love of self and of others, power, death. Death means letting go, transformation. Each of us have come back. I thought it was to come back to walk one of these roads. But then they corrected me over the years and says, no, we all have to walk all of these roads and this areas of this life's walk. And it's a long journey. It's not easy. And
You were telling us about the time where you were flown to Colorado.
Yes.
And you were basically in the United Nations because of kids, because you were surrounded by many children from different cultures. That was maybe the platform the universe was bringing you to, because you would be meeting a lot of people along your life.
Definitely. And so this is what I saw for myself, that I was meeting these people from Israel, from Pakistan, from all over, and we played together as kids during the 4 years, 3.5 to 4 years I was there. And we went to school at the public school, but we participated in all of the things. It was just a gathering, and it was a wonderful time. I enjoyed the people that I was there, and I got so much better. And when I left to go back home, and then the next part of my journey was to go away to boarding school again. And there was another part of the journey, which took me to the 12th year in school. And that was a wake-up period of time. It was not easy for me. It was a really rough time. But during that time was another areas of what Spirit brought to me in the areas of the rain ceremony. I mean, sitting in the rain, it was not necessarily a ceremony, but it was just what I was going through at the particular time. But all through these lessons along the way is preparing me to understand, and others did not know what I was going through because it was between me and the council. And I got to know these people, and I refer to them as the council of elders. Yeah. And
Do they guide you by, sorry for cutting you off. Do they guide you by speaking to you, or do you sense them? Do you feel them?
As a child, they would often wake me up. They would not, but Badabin would always be the one that would wake me up. And at times it's almost like, it was like, you know how you jump in the water and the water goes up your nose? That's how she would pull me up out of bed. And it's almost like, it was like water going up your nose as if your spirit is being pulled out. And then walking with her to meet the elders again. And so this happened all the time that way, only during the time at nighttime, not necessarily every other night, but at different times they would come. If it was once a month and things of this. And then this would happen until at first I thought I had done something wrong because it was taking less and less time of meeting with the elders. And but then I was able to understand what they were teaching me in the areas of the words of the teachings and things of what's going to happen and how things were going to be. And I didn't quite understand. And then all of a sudden they said some things about violence, and that now this is like jumping into the 20s, 20 years of age. And I start seeing this thing of people. And they said, you see how people are, that they are troublesome. They say one thing and they do things different. And to understand, we're all students of life upon this earth. And you have so many people wanting to tell you this and tell you that. And then I start understanding about, we are all students of life upon this earth. There are no graduates here. And as I your teacher, so you are mine. If you meet someone with all the answers and they say only study from me and no one else, be careful. Yeah, you may be dealing with a fool. Stay away from that one. And to see this thing, religion means rigid control. And that how the words religion has been stretched apart. They said, it's like, well, many things. I don't want to go deeply into things because people may not understand what I'm coming from. But to understand us First Nation people, the Indian people, we are so close to Mother Earth. We don't own the earth. We only are there to help in our journey upon this earth. And that it's not about the money, because when all of this money is gone, there's nothing left. But we are the caretakers of this. And so are the people in Latin America, the same thing. And this is why that I have a cousin, she's a singer, and she says, she made a song, she says, we didn't cross the border crossed us.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, wow. And it's a beautiful song that she recorded, because, and when we do our powwows, that we joined with Latin America, and the Latin people, they come into the powwows to sell at their powwows because we are, as we say, cousins to each other, as brothers and sisters.
And speaking
Again,
of that, we have to thank Mr. T, Professor Geraldo, for hooking us together, and I hope he will be joining us in one of our programs soon also. And then after that, what was Colorado to you?
Colorado was much to me because of the people. I learned how to dance my own people's way. There was a dance group there called the Medicine Pipers in those days, and we would the elders would taught me how to dance and do ceremony, and that we did a lot of parades during the summertime, and it was really an mind opening experience. It was a beautiful time. Yeah.
And then how were you guided to what you had become as a seer, as a teller, to help others?
Okay. Did not do any of those things during that time, just learning, just by listening. And then many things started happening. And I would talk to my grandmother and my mother. I said, this is happening. And she told me, she explained to me, listen, look where you expect not to see, and you will see. And to where that I've heard not the voices. When you hear voices, run and hide. But these are not voices. But I just knew, and how it came, and how it came about in the areas of, when I say the voices, it's not. It's just the awakening and then going before the council. So not that I don't want anyone to think that when you hear voices, because I don't hear the voices, I'm pulled to it. And then in time, I understand what is going, because they talk to my subconscious. And then I know what is being said.
So that's a voice from within, right?
Yeah, because if you hear voices, run and hide, as we say. Yeah. And so, but
they say run first, ask then, right?
That's right. Yeah, because the voices will not come that way. And but you would just know when you're looking to, as we say, whether at one time, I remember I said to someone, I used to work for the railroad, and this bee came into the train and in the freight car, and the bee told me, but how would I know that? It's just that I felt something about that bee that I was supposed to listen. And so it's peculiar how the insects can talk to you, and animal speaks. And matter of fact, there's a very good book by a friend of mine. He's gone over now to the other side. The book is called Animals Speak, and it's by Ted Andrews. And he is a very good writer, but he's now been gone for about 15 years or 20 years. And it's one of those books that you should pick up, Animals Speak, and they talk about the animals, what you see in the dream time and why they come in the dream time, and what each of these animals, even the snakes that you see, and people say, oh, I saw a snake, this is bad. No, shedding of the snake means the snake is shedding the new beginnings.
Great. Well, good to know, right?
Because the shell comes off, it means, his skin comes off, he's starting a new cycle. And that's why the snakes are blind when they come out for the new birth.
That's quite interesting. When did you start guiding people?
I took my first 50, I took my first coin, which was a quarter, at the age of about 12 years old. And that was the first time, but then my mother said, no, you're not, and my grandmother said, you're not old enough. You're not old enough to say anything to others. So, I didn't say that much, but until I started the work, they felt I was 22 years old when I started giving counsel. And that's when it started, the counseling, and others would come to ask me my opinion of things, and I would travel the powwow circuit and down the East Coast and things of that. So it took a long time because old people said I was too young to tell other people what to do because I had no experience. Who am I to tell an adult this or that? And so that's why that they held me back. Yeah. And you see, there are many seers, and how the other seers that travel are the tellers. They are born in every community, as we say, and in the dream time, we always know about the dream time. Yeah.
Okay. And what advice could you give to people who are starting to see things, to sense things, or maybe they have done it for a while, but maybe they thought that was not good for them to flow in this? What suggestion, what advice would you give to them?
I would tell people to go into meditation, to think it through, to meditate on it, to talk with family, that there's always someone in the family that has this gift that can help them along the way. It is not good for a child to be trying to prophesize. They can get hurt very badly. It is not good for a person that has mental illnesses because they would mess up what is spirit saying from what their mind is saying. So this is why you have to really stay focused into this. It's not an easy game. It's not an easy thing for this. So these are the reasons why you question things. And then question things because it's like if something said, jump in front of a car, this is a bad message, a bad teacher. Things in the areas of mix-ups, that sure, there's good and there's bad. There's good and bad on the other side too. But you have to be able to trust your counsel, the ones that's talking to you in the dream time.
The council has kept in touch with you?
Always. Yeah.
Do you have to go there so they can speak to you, or can you hear?
Now I'm able to, when I do my readings, there may be one, maybe two in that circle of elders that sit in, not all 13. It can be when I sat down to do the readings. And if it's a general, I can handle it. If one comes in to stop me, they come to the subconscious, and then I listen, and then I continue to move on within the message. So it's not that all 12 or 13 sitting in this room talking to me. No, it's maybe one or two, or it's usually one or two that will come in and out, or just sit and just listen to what I say. But then if they come in to change the voice, then they come through and they can knock me. And I say, I would step out, they would step in because their voices change.
Good. Interesting. And you're telling me that there are 13, if I got things correctly. Each one of them have different wisdoms or so? Please let me know. 13?
The 13 with the Dobbin, they have the wisdom, but however, when they come through, it is tall pine voice that comes through, but it's sort of like all joining in with one person that will talk, but you will know in the room who is in there, if that person is in the room. I remember this was like about 20 years ago. I was in Quebec, in Montreal, and my friend, a buddy of mine, was traveling with me, and he was outside the room, and I'm sitting in the circle, and I don't know why he was out dialing with friends, and my count at that time, my count said, "We want to smoke." So I always carried a pack of Camel cigarettes because they like to smoke Camel cigarettes. And at that time, I think it was about maybe 6 or 7 of them that was sitting there. And then all of a sudden, surprises do happen. And my friend Bob, all of a sudden, I don't know how fast it was that he burst into the room, and all 6 or 7 cigarettes fell into the ashtray. And he looked, he says, "Oh my God." And he left the room, and he a few minutes later, he dialed up the room and said, "Look, just put my bags on the outside of the room. I'm checking into another room." So
Yeah.
that doesn't usually happen, but it happened at that time. They would, because of what the council was saying, and at that time, they were smoking and everything in a big ashtray right there. And all of a sudden, everything in the midair just fell into the ashtray. Some people may not understand it, but others that this happens to, I know it's happened to others. But now, of course, people
Not everything
people
that
don't smoke.
happens
Huh?
can be, not everything that happens we can understand. I mean,
Right.
that's the truth.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's, as they say, let's call it a day. Let's finish the program, because I would like on the next episode, so I would love for you to explain to us a little bit more, what is it that you do? I wanted to get to know a little bit, for the people to get to know a little bit about you, and then what is it that you do? Okay, so thank you so very much for being with us today. Any final words, please?
Always walk in beauty.
Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom.
Yes.
This has been an episode of My Way, the first one. Thank you for being the head this time, as I could call it, the first one for our program here. This is My Way from the Healing Arts Academy. Please subscribe and stay tuned, because we have so many more things to tell you, and we will be having interesting people like the special guest that we have today that will come and teach us and let us see life from a different perspective. That's what we're here for. This is Ariel Zvi, thanking you for being with us. Until next time, bye-bye.